just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right, Bad Weather Fans, episode number 266. Lost my voice a little bit. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz. We are presented by DraftKings. Knicks winners in game number 6 last night in New York versus the Pacers. Indiana still with a 3-2 lead. Last time we recorded this, it was after game 1. Pacers up 1-0. So since then, 2 wins for Indiana, 2 wins for the Knicks. And it's 3-2 as we go back to Indiana for game number 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Was at game 5 last night at the Garden. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the game. And good morning, Alex. It's good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm just very happy that the coalition of Knicks haters was in the building to watch the Knicks smack the Pacers when you and Evan Roberts brought you to the game. You were the mystery friend he talked about on the show.
Funny.
And it was nice to see that. It was also nice to see Towns go off again. It was nice to see the Knicks play great defense. It was nice to see everything. Just get the win. Brunson was on fire. Landry Shamet went crazy on defense. The crowd was chanting Landry Shamet. You know, who had that, a couple months ago that would happen. I would call you crazy. I hate that on their bingo card. I hate that saying, so I didn't want to say that. But I just did.
You just did. So
yeah.
Unfortunately, you did, buddy.
I'm really tired. It's 6:20 in the morning. Mike's even more tired because he went to the game and had like 2 hours of sleep. But he lost his voice from cheering for the Knicks so much last night, right, Mike?
I wouldn't say that. But I had fun there. It was a good time. Obviously something I'll remember for forever. Weird for me, surreal just being, I see Knick jerseys and I'm like, ugh. But it was almost like if you were going to go to therapy and they were like, just drop you in it. And it forces you to just accept
shock therapy.
Shock therapy. Definitely was shock therapy. Obviously going to the epicenter of, the Knick universe last night. But yeah, I there's one play, I don't think people will talk about it much, but in particular, it really cemented what kind of night this was going to be. Indiana was down early, and then in the second quarter, they actually crawled back and made it a 2-point game. And I was like, okay. Pacers got through that initial push. You knew the crowd would be juiced up early, and now it's kind of settled down. Indiana cut it to 2. And there was like 1 second on the shot clock, and Deuce McBride hit an elbow 3. I want to say there's like 8-9 minutes left in the second quarter. Pushed it back up to 5. Then Indiana went down the court, missed an easy 2, went back, and the Knicks, I think, got like a Towns and 1 maybe. And all of a sudden it was like back to 7 or 8. And I was like, shit. And I could just feel that momentum switch, and they took advantage of it. And weird minutes, Alex, all aboard. Like I don't have all of this in front of me. And I think sometimes when you're at the game, it's actually a little more hard, a little more difficult to follow with stuff because you're there. But Mitch playing all of the first, all of the third. I don't think he played the second or fourth quarters.
He didn't.
Like, I don't know if Tibbs. So
I've never seen anything like that.
Greatest accomplishment, because it really worked.
I've never seen anything like that from a player. First and third, starting and not playing a second and the fourth, and that's just crazy to me.
But
it worked. Yeah,
it worked, and I think maybe for his stamina, maybe that's the best way to do it. Now, if you get a close game in the fourth quarter in Indiana, and I would expect it to be a close game on Saturday, I don't know if you could do something like that. Especially, I don't know.
Well, they were pulling away also in the fourth, so they didn't have to go back.
Right, that's my point. They didn't have to.
And the Pacers threw in the towel. A couple minutes left in the game, which was crazy considering what happened in game 1.
Well, once it got to like 17 with 2, it was cooked.
Yeah. Well, Halliburton, how about him? He choked last night. Nothing game for him.
No, he was bad.
1 for 6 or 1 for 7 from the field. That's it. After dominating in game 4.
Yeah.
And talking a lot of trash, and they were anointing him as the crowned king of the NBA.
Who's they?
And the media, everybody.
Okay, I just didn't. I honestly did not know who you were referencing.
They, it's a collective they, and I'm very excited. At first I was like, don't win Thursday and then lose Saturday because then you're just ruining my Saturday night. But now that I was, kind of joking with that because you can't really predict that. But I'm just happy that we're still going. I'm happy that the season is still on. It's been a great wild ride. Get me to game 7, and then anything can happen. Maybe, Evan will take me, please. No, I'm kidding. I would love to go. That would be great, but who knows how that's going to happen
Be
because
a
that'd be
million bucks, man, for
that
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 seat
ticket's going to be ridiculous.
if it happens.
But I'm just excited that we're still basketball. I'm excited that, the Knicks are still rocking. I'm excited they didn't roll over and die. I wouldn't expect that from this team. But this series has been crazy. So,
Yeah.
you never know. I'm just happy that players stepped up and Jalen Brunson started off the game quick and just, the Knicks basically, besides that one little run and spurt that you were talking about, the Knicks really didn't look back.
No, it was them the whole night, right? Like Indiana got it to 10 at one point, and it was 13 in the fourth quarter. They made their runs, but it was never really in doubt. And every time the Pacers did, the Knicks had a response. And you're right, Brunson was really good in the first quarter. He set the tone, and then in the second quarter, Towns led the way with the scoring. And the defense was great. I think that was the key, as you would reference, man. Like so many good putbacks from offensive rebounds from Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson's defense. He really kind of anchored it and got the crowd motivated and loud. And then the same with Shamit, right? Like, he just brings a lot more to the table than Campaign does. Campaign can get like wacky hot and hit all these threes in a row, but um, you know, Shamit can defend. He can hit perimeter shots, and he's just a more balanced basketball player. And it just makes more sense for him. I saw him. Well, when he was on the Nets, he was a key contributor to the team that was um, uh, that went to the second round, lost to the Bucks. Shamit was a big part of that team. Can shoot, can spread the floor, and it gives a lot more balance to the Knicks. You can see it with that second unit, and it looks like they found a little something here. With the switch, the adjustments, and you just feel like with this new bench of the Knicks, it's a lot better than what it was before. There's more stability with the lineup, and maybe it's not the offensive firepower, but defensively, you got all these guys here that can defend in the second unit, and then you put it around Towns who can score, and that's kind of the way they go, and so far so good. As far as getting these wins. Now we'll see what happens in game 6. And to your point, this series has been so weird and wacky and unpredictable, and all of these in basketball, not even just this one. So it's like, who knows what'll happen? Like, look at the Knicks, lost game 5 in Boston by 100, then go back to the Garden game 6 and win by 100. So you just don't know what's going to happen in these from game to game. And I think fans feel the emotion of joy. Like there's the highs are highs and the lows are low. And it's like, I wouldn't tell you to feel it any other way because after a win, you feel like the best thing in the world. And after a loss, it feels like you'll never win again. So we'll go
Yeah.
into game 6. And, I'm just, you had said this to me about the Nets. It's just when they were done and they lost, it's just relief. And at this point, it's just, I just want that relief. And also, like, I just want this over. Like you talk about how excited you are. I've been talking a while now. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. You've been
It's
talking
okay.
about
Keep
how
going.
like you've been talking about like how much fun it's been to keep going this. I'm just like I'm just so over it. I'm like, especially from I'm just over it. I just want to move on. I just want to get to the Nets and the draft. Like this, that net season was so bad. It, I'm not saying that then the next net season will be good, but there's at least like things to talk about, things to happen. And for the first time in a long time for the Nets, it was a whole year of nothing. I'm excited to have like a relevant off season. While we're literally about to hit June, and I'm still talking about the Knicks title chances, and I'm sick of it.
Yeah. And being in the building, this text from you at 10:12 p.m. The Landry chants hurt me. Not gonna
Those ones
lie.
annoyed. Those ones were annoying. Those ones were annoying because I liked Landry and he was a good
Xnet.
net.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he was part of the team he was a rotation player for the team that was, I thought could win a championship. And then obviously did not. So
Yeah. And who was the player? I know I texted you this last night. Who was the player that you said on the show that he's going to hit a big shot for the Nets in the playoffs?
Patty Mills.
Patty Mills. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I waited for that.
I couldn't put my finger on who it was. I thought it was Sham. I knew it was like a random guy, but
Shooter.
a
off
random
the
shooter.
bench.
Yeah. So, I mean, Landry Shamet, man, shout out to him. He
He
was
went
like
like this to the crowd too.
yeah, that was,
It's funny. I don't know. It was
and he's been dressing before games like he's going to Miami. You know what I mean? It's like going out to dinner in Miami. People, if you've seen them walk in, it's pretty funny. And he's just early in the season, he's signed as like non-guaranteed contract, and then he tears his Achilles. Or his
yeah.
Achilles? What did he? It was his Achilles.
I know. I don't
I
know, but I know he
forgot
was out
what
for a
he
good
hurt.
half of the season at least, or
I
whatever.
forgot what I think it was. I don't know what it was, but it was something that like kept it like knocked him out. And the Knicks did right by him, and they kept him in the building, and off the not off the record, but it was kind of like they took care of him. Stay in town. You know what I mean? We'll sign you
Yeah.
back, rehab, we'll get you back, and they did. And we spent all year like saying T.J. Warren was going to be the guy that they're going to sign, and it ended up being Shamit and a couple other nobodies from the street, which is just another thing with Leon Rose. You never know what he's going to do. So if you're talking about in the offseason that you know what Leon Rose is going to do, you don't. So before training camp, you trade Randall and DiVincenzo for Towns, and nobody saw that coming. You trade for Mikal Bridges 5 picks, yeah, and nobody saw that coming. So it's just you have no idea what Leon Rose is going to do. So stop predicting. Just enjoy the ride and trust the executive for once. I mean, I don't want to talk offseason because we're still at Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, which is wild. And like you said, it's May 30th now, and we're talking Knicks,
So
and
so
it's
over.
crazy. And the NBA is so wild because the draft is like going to be like 2 weeks after the season.
25th,
July,
June 25th.
June 25th. Oh my God, it's less than a month away. So it's literally going to be like a week after the finals.
Yeah. I mean, the finals, I guess, would start, I don't know exactly, but probably like a week from now,
We
I would
got the
guess.
schedule for the final. Like I have it right here. Hold on. One sec. I sent it to somebody. So it's not that it's not that far away. Oh, here it
Is
is.
this
Game 1 is the 5th, June 5th.
it's a Friday
So next week. Yeah. Next Thursday. Next
or
Thursday.
Thursday? Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
So,
sense.
yeah. And game 7 for the finals would be June 22nd. So
I don't.
that's
If
crazy.
we're doing, I mean, see, that's what's scary. Like, if I'm doing a Knicks Thunder game 7, that's in
And you can't laugh it
3 weeks.
off. You can't laugh it off.
No, I'm not. I mean, it's possible. It's definitely
Yeah, no, no.
possible.
I'm just saying, like, usually you're like, yeah, okay, well, when the Knicks are in the finals, we'll be doing
Yeah.
that. Can't make plans in June because you never know what the Knicks are going to be doing.
Well, I have
And
plans,
it's always a
so
joke.
I'm not a Knicks fan. I have plans. I'll
Game
bring
7
the
of the finals and the Knicks are in it, you're going to watch it.
no,
You'll hate
I
what?
know. I'll bring the mic with
Yeah,
me.
you'll watch it.
Don't worry. I don't have
Yeah.
plans that week. It's the week before.
Uh,
Or I don't know. But yeah, it was fun being in the building. It was my impressions of the crowd was it was a great crowd. It was good energy. But I will like there is a myth that like anything that happens in the Garden is better than any arena, and it was loud and fans got into it. But this idea that's like a Nick playoff game is different than anybody else. Maybe it was in the '90s, but that's just all smoke and mirrors, and that's just like
See,
living off the past. I don't know. It was really loud. It was a great crowd, but this idea that's like you go to the Garden and it's louder, and like that's just not true.
I think it gets more attention than anywhere else because look at Trey
Attention,
Young.
yes. Attention,
Trey
yes.
Young
Attention,
became a
yes.
celebrity because of what
Agree with
happened a
that.
couple of years ago. And I think the crowd is wild and goes crazier. I think right now the crowd is not the typical Nick crowd that it is during the season
Maybe.
or maybe the first round, because right now you have great Nick fans like Nick Nader, our boy. He goes season tickets every game and he's like, it's too much. Like he's like, I can afford it, but I just out of principle, I'm not spending 3 grand a ticket
Yeah,
to
it's
go to the
crazy.
game, so it's crazy. And he's tickets on the floor behind the basket. So like, I don't blame him. You know what I mean? And that's a real live and die Nick fan that
I think
goes
there's
to
something
every
to
game,
that.
you know? And now, like, yeah, it's not that wealthy people can't be diehard Nick fans, but there's a lot of people that just have money and it's a thing to do because you have money and like, let's go to the game. We can afford 5 grand a ticket and coming down from Westchester and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so I just, it's a real Nick crowd, but there's also a lot of people that aren't live and die Nick fans that are there that are more casual that follow the team but aren't there like the whole world revolves around the Knicks like we do. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
or
I
the
get
Nets
that.
like you do.
Fair.
So there's something to that. And also this game five being down 3-1, I think there's also a bit of the foot off the gas kind of like feeling like going into game three in the Celtics series. Those tickets were so expensive because everybody believed and were like, oh my God, we can really win now.
Sure.
So everybody got excited. Like a game seven is going to sound a lot more crazy than this game five. You
Right.
know what I mean? So there's something
It's
to that
maybe
too.
it's in my own like fantasy land of just being like told my whole
No,
life
I
that
mean,
then
in the
like
first
like
half,
I'm
I
going in
agree
here.
with you.
I'm like
Yeah.
I'm a net fan, and we don't get good energy in the crowd. It's different, and I'm just like I have to stop with this minds this
Well, it's because we do
little
this
brother.
podcast also. You got
What's
to
that?
hear it all the time.
Yeah, I hear it all the time. So in my head, I'm like, I'm going in here, and it's gonna be like there's gonna be fire coming out of the court. It's and I'm like, okay, it's a game, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
it just that from my perspective of that mindset.
No, I hear you, and I think you texted me also in the first half. You're like the crowd is not that loud, and I was like, I agree with you because the first half I didn't think the crowd was really that into it, and then but as the second half started
It
rolling
got
in, the
good.
Shamit stuff and the Mitchells going crazy on the block and the defense on Siakam on the sideline, and it was just crowd. You could hear it on TV.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, now we're rocking.
It's
So
a hater in me coming out too. So
yeah. No, but
to
you
be
were right
fair.
about the first half. I didn't hear much. I think a lot of it was what I was saying, where the real Nick fan was kind of like, bracing themselves for disaster because
Yeah.
even with the big lead, you saw what happened in game one. I couldn't get relaxed in this game until it was over, until I saw
Yeah.
Halliburton and until Carlisle was throwing in the towel. I was like, all right, we got this. So I wasn't relaxed just because of that. And you know what sucks is like, you can never give away a game in a playoff series ever. Like the Knicks did it with the Sixers last year when they had that, the DiVincenzo three off the rebound and they stole that game. That's why they won the series. I mean, like they won in six, but like if the Sixers win that game, then you're really going to a game seven, and then you don't know. And then this series, like if the Knicks win game one like they should have and close it out like they should have, and it wasn't like some miracle, thing by the Pacers. Shout out to them. They did it. I'm not taking anything away from them, but it was a miracle, to win that game, especially with the shot by Halliburton. That was a lucky shot, So, um, you win that game right now. You're up 3-2. You're up 3-2 going into this. It's a game six. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? And instead,
somebody
you're
was
down. You're down 3-2. You're going into the game last night at 2-2, not 3-1. And it changes the whole dynamic of the series. So you can't give away games in a playoff series, and that's just what it is. And LeBron knows that when that game when J.R. Smith didn't know the time, like
it was a great
whatever,
game.
he didn't
It
know
was
how
a
much time
great
was
game.
left, and he's
Great
yeah,
game.
the famous meme of what are you doing with the hands up,
That was a
So
great game.
yeah, that's when he knew he's like, we're cooked, So LeBron knows,
Well,
so
I was listening to Bill Simmons' podcast and the other night after the game, and he made this point. I think it's so true. It's like when you give those games away, you basically got to beat a team 5 times.
yeah,
Like now you got to beat because you beat them already. In theory, it felt
right,
like it. And they got to beat them another 4 times. So that's like winning 5 games in the series.
yeah, it's true.
Um,
Because they
but
had him. They had him in that game one. I don't want to go back to that, but they had him in that game one, and it still haunts me this whole series because not only game two, you lose like a normal game, but then it's like now you're down 0-2 going to Indy, and the coach panics. He changes rotation. I mean, it looked great last night, but I still don't love the fact that you're changing rotations in the Eastern Conference Finals after you spent all this time, 96 games going into the
well,
game three of the Eastern Conference Finals, and it was working.
to
But
be
last
fair,
night it looked
Alex,
well. It looked great, So
they were 0-2 with the old lineup, and they're 2 and
mhm.
1 with the new one. So
Yeah. So whatever.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
the result that matters, and that's what you want. So if
Right. Wins and losses.
I
That's
can't
it.
tell you if he went to that old one, I bet you this series is over.
Well, we don't know. I mean,
And
we
we
don't know.
don't, but
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
you think you want me sitting here talking about how good Tibbs done? You think that's what you're putting me to, man?
Oh
Oh
man.
man, shout out
I'm
to
excited.
MSG being expensive as fuck.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I had 2 hot dogs and 2 beers. I think it was $180.
It's crazy. It's it's all out of whack, man.
I
And
mean,
nobody's the
I was
best is
like,
that
I
the
couldn't
best
believe
is
I
yeah,
couldn't
okay.
believe it.
Yeah.
Like when he said the price, I was like, I was like, what did I get? I
Yeah.
looked
No,
at my
it's New York
box.
City, man. So I
Oh
had to
my
move
God.
out, bro. It got out of it got crazy. Our rent was at like $5,000 a month. It was like time to go.
How
You know
much
what I mean? It's
money
just
did
you got a
James
kid
Dolan make
now.
last night? I was just like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
And that's what, why I laugh at all these election commercials and the mayors like, I'll bring down the rent and I'll make things cheaper. Like, no, you won't. Like how?
Just
You get what I'm saying? Like,
politicians.
yeah, I mean
Mayor
it's
Adams
stupid.
too, by the way, like being all in on the Knicks,
Ugh, he's
which
so
is
corny.
frustrating because of the mandate from
Right.
COVID that
Right.
really hurt the Nets' chances. Now I know
He could have just gotten the shot. I mean, we don't have to rehash
there's
that. Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
that really hurt the Nets. So just
Yeah.
seeing him be like, "When we're all in New York, we're all in on this," it's like,
He's so
man,
phony.
it's not. Obviously, it's there's well, I mean, the mandate thing is actually more of the political side to talk about, and this is just him, whatever. But
Hmm.
man, it's like it's just frustrating. It's just really frustrating as a Nets fan to see that. It's really tough to
Well,
watch.
it's the Knicks are I don't mean to be a dick, but the Knicks are New York's team, and they have more fans, and they're more
Doesn't
of
matter. It's still hard to
when the
see.
Knicks are rolling and they're this good and they're in these conference finals. The city is a lot different than when the Nets are rolling and get deep in the playoffs. More people care, and that's just what he's going to do. And I'm sure when the Nets rebuild and they have a playoff run again at some point, he'll be into it, or a mayor will be into it
Right,
because
of
it's
course.
a team, and but it's not nearly as dynamic
Well,
as it is when the Knicks are.
well,
I mean, it's
it's
just a
not,
fact.
but it's what it's like I said before. I agree with
Yeah,
everything
it's
you're
just the
saying.
same guy.
It's
I know
what
what you're saying.
happened to
It's a
the
reminder.
organization.
Now you see the foot on the line. Now you see all the memories come back and all this
It's
shit.
the mandate
Yeah.
that did hurt the Nets. Like
Hmm.
that did hurt them. We can
And it
get to
was
the
stupid
nuance
at
of
the
it.
time. It was stupid at the time. I mean,
Well, the
and
part.
but he also could have gotten the shot. You could say both things. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
Everybody got the shot, just get the shot. And there's also like at this point of COVID, it was like that tweener stage of the mandates are getting stupid. They don't make sense. You know what I mean? So it
well,
is
the
what it
part of
was.
it that really, the last thing I'll say on it was that
Yeah.
road players could come in
Right.
unvaxxed
Right. That's what I'm
and
saying.
play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nets or Knicks had to be vaccinated or they couldn't play, but they could go to the arena, sit courtside, and watch. And that's where it just got to the point where this is not about safety and
Right. Well,
science
and he could
anymore.
practice also with the Nets, but he couldn't play with
Right.
them
And he could
because
go
he
on the
wasn't they found a loophole in the like he doesn't work for it was something they found the Nets found some loophole in the law that he was able to practice with them. I
so
forgot
the
what it
whole
was.
thing
Yeah.
that's the part of it that
Yeah.
like
It was stupid. Yeah.
if it's
No, it
if
wasn't.
it's about safety, I don't want to agree or disagree. Then road players shouldn't be allowed to play too. Like
Right.
and they
Then there'd
shouldn't
be
be.
no NBA, but there's too
It's
much money. So there's too much money with that. So yeah,
and
they couldn't do it. Yeah.
that's so I see the mayor and it just reminds me of all of
Yeah.
it. And then I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with him or you saying you're not a dick by saying it. I understand. Like I'm in the minority here of a fan base. I
Hmm.
totally get that. And last night was a reminder of it and being in it.
The belly of the
It
beast.
also makes
Yeah.
me super proud to be in that fan because we're not as big of a group, and it makes me proud that I am root for the
Yeah. No, I
Nets,
know what you
and
mean.
and
I know what you mean.
and it like
Yeah.
that does kind of give me this feeling of like, you know what, I went against the grain, especially as a kid, and I didn't go for this, and I all the respect if that's what you wanted is your team. I get it, obviously, but it was like part of me it's like it's kind of cool to be a Net fan and not go against the grain in a
And I
sense.
get that. I get that. I'm a Mets and Jets fan too.
It's even
So
more
like
different. It's even
I,
more different.
I know it is, but I get it from like a Mets perspective where it's like when the Mets are rolling, like people care, and the Mets are way bigger than the Nets. Like I'm not saying that, but it's not the same as when the Yankees are rolling. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. And it's the same with the Jets. I mean, the Jets haven't been good in so long, so it's hard to really remember. A lot of younger people don't really remember the Jets being in the playoffs, which is crazy. But when the Jets are rolling and they're making a run, it's like the city care. I mean, the city, the state, whatever, and the market cares. You know what I mean? It's not like the Nets, but like at the same time, it's not like the Giants on those
I
Super Bowl runs. Like
I I was saying this to Evan yesterday, and I
So I
just be
get it.
curious, like what year did the Jets start?
1966.
And
because they were the Titans first, and it became the Jets in '67
so let's just say it was
or
1976.
'65. Yeah, something like
Let's
that.
just say
Yeah.
it was 10 years into the Jets' existence.
Uh-huh.
Like, what was the Jet fan base like then compared to the Giant one that it is now compared to it? So, what I'm trying to say is, like, in the year 2067, let's say,
Yeah.
or 2072, we won't most likely be here. We
I'll
might.
be here, not you.
Um, what will the Net versus Nick fan base look like in the year 2080, if there even is a world? But
Right. There's still
like,
basketball.
like
Yeah.
it's just, I think sometimes we forget. Like,
The
oh,
robot nets, the
not
AI nets would be,
oh God,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Knicks and Nets is not the same as Yankees, Mets, or Giants,
Right.
Jets. But it's like, well, in 2080, it might be.
No, it's that's
It's just,
that's true.
it's just early.
That's it was a long-term play moving to Brooklyn, and it was smart because now you have all these, Brooklyn peak kids who are growing up like, a few miles from Barclays Center. They're not going to be Knicks fans, especially if their parents aren't Knicks fans. Some are just like,
Takes
some parents
time.
don't care about sports or are not diehards. And you're 10, you can walk to the Barclays Center. You're going to be a Nets fan, So and then they have kids, and then it grows. It's a time thing. Like Richard Jefferson said it to us on our podcast once. I've one of the few times he was on. I forgot which one, but he was saying how like
First time,
people
I
come
think.
to him like I was a kid, like you, Mike. Like let's say it's you, like come to him and meet him and be like, I remember when I was a kid and I saw you do this, and now my kid's a Nets fan, and now that's how it grows in popularity over time. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
usually follow what your dad does, your parents do, or an older sibling or cousin does. You usually don't just pick a random team,
yeah.
so
Which is
whatever.
funny you say that, because my son kind of starting to really get it a little bit.
Hmm.
He's 4
Right.
now, and he'll be 5 in September. So it's starting to kind of all click in his head. But he couldn't understand what I was doing yesterday. He goes, "You don't like the Knicks? Why are you going?" Like,
I mean, I didn't understand it either. So
he couldn't process it. He was like, "I don't get it." He's like, "But you don't like them. Why are you going?" Oh yeah, and like, Mike, Buttelich,
Buddha.
Buddha, like, give it, like, you shouldn't go. Let the real fans go. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, what would have been the right decision? Like, I had an opportunity to
Hand
go.
it to me. That would have been the right decision.
It's
No, I'm
not my
kidding. I
tickets.
know it's not your ticket. I'm kidding.
Like, seriously, like, in all like, of
I'm
course I'm
literally
gonna
kidding when
do.
I say that, by the way. Yeah,
It's
no,
like,
I
I'm
know.
sorry. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. I'm sorry. If you're frustrated, I went and you
Right.
didn't. I
But
totally
you have a friend
understand
that
that.
wants to take you to a game for free. So you're like, all right, you know
I
what?
did it, and it
Let's
was
go. I love
5 years in the
basketball.
making.
Yeah.
Whatever. So
No, I get it. And shout out to my buddy John, aka Catfish. He's big into the show. He's he was listening to Evan and Tiki yesterday, and I missed this part live, but he texted me. He goes, so is Mike the friend that Evan's taken to the game because he loves the show? Good friend of mine. And he goes,
yeah,
and I go, yep, LOL. And then I put it back and I posted it on Twitter or whatever. It was really funny.
yeah,
And then you're in the background of Evan's video with your hood on, like trying to like get out of the way or whatever.
yeah.
It was really funny.
I guess all the that I went back. It's all the people in the fan had to do a instant reaction to it.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
So it was, which I get. They're trying to
Yeah.
build an
No, I mean,
audience,
fan
take advantage
reactions are
of
where
it.
it's at, man. My laundry room ones do really well now. So
I
it,
got this. Yes, they do. I do love the gimmick. I do like the gimmick.
it started off as natural. Now it's like, all right, now people are tweet me and be like, you got to go to the laundry room.
Yeah,
So this one, if it was before I went crazy, because the first time I did it was when the Knicks beat the Celtics in
game
game
one.
two, I think it was, or game one, whichever one. And I was just so excited that I had to scream. And so I
Yeah,
went to the laundry room because my son is sleeping. Now it's like I'm a little more subdued, especially after a game five win where it's like we're still alive, but it's not like, holy shit, I can't believe it. It's like, all right. And it was the way they won also. It was kind of like, all right, we did it. They win game six, so that's going to be a different animal. And obviously game seven. So, I don't know if I'll even be able to be home if there's a game seven. Probably have to go out, so, and feel that, hugging people and if they win and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
you know,
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. Who knows? Who
all
knows?
the pressure's now on the Pacers. And I know that's a gimmick line, but it is because you don't want to go back to game seven, especially after the Knicks prove they can win at the Garden now. You don't want to come back to the Garden. You don't want to do that because, like we said, and this is not a knock on the Pacers and taking anything away, but they had a lucky game one win. They won a normal one game two, and game five, it was a pretty solid win. So you don't want to go back in game seven, and the Knicks have already proved they can win in Indiana. So you don't want to go back to the Garden in game seven just because
Well,
not because the Garden crowd's going to be the greatest in the whole time in history. It's just you were just up 3-1, and now you're going back to the Garden at 3-3. It's just emotionally draining as a pacer,
well, it's the same. It's the same. I mean, it's identical to the Celtic Knicks series. I would say,
Yeah.
like the Celtics had two 20-point leads, and you want to
Mhm.
call them lucky comebacks, right? I'm gonna use your
That wasn't a
phrasing.
lucky comeback. I mean, the Pacers.
I'm using your phrasing. I'm
The
just
Pacers
saying
hitting six threes in the last 3 minutes and then a lucky bounce to go into overtime. I
but
mean,
to
they
get
won it in
it
overtime
was
square, fair and square, but that was like it was
it's
a
literal
lucky run. Like
it's
literally
l-
everything had to
it's
happen.
literally the same series right now. It's the two road
Right now it
wins.
is, yeah.
It's the game three win on the road. Then
Right.
the home team defends game four. Then there's the game five dud, and now it's game six. It is literally the same series.
So you think the Knicks are going to get smacked
If
around
it
on game
follows
six?
that blueprint, yes, but it means nothing for this game. Then I would be
No, but
crazy to say it does. There's no, but I'm just saying if you look at the sequence, it's the two road wins by the underdog with um pretty crazy comebacks, right? I would
yeah.
consider those crazy comebacks.
Yes, I would say.
Game two was not as much. That was more of just a regular win. But Knicks get to the crazy comebacks. Then game three, Celtics blow out the Knicks. The Knicks have the comeback win versus the Pacers. Game four, teams defend their home court. Game
Yeah.
five, blowout win by the home team. Now game six. I think at this point, Alex, I think it's time to end this.
Yeah, I
I'm
was just
tired.
looking at some quotes to see if there's anything that they said, anything exciting, but of course
Go
no.
Nets.
Let's go Knicks. Let's take game six, and then anything happen in game seven. Just stay focused. Let's keep this rolling, and we can
Um,
be done.
let's be done with this series, and we can all go to bed and not have to be hate watching in June.
Yeah.
For the love of God, it's almost June. I am exhausted. Exhausted from the Knicks
I'm
success.
not. Let's
I
go
am
Knicks.
exhausted.
Keep going. Go into
I mean,
July if
this
you
has
have
been going
to.
for 6 weeks.
The Knicks season started in November, and it's
Oh,
May. It's almost June, so
the
May
Nets
30th.
season ended in November.
It ended in July when they
Oh,
traded Mikal, and then that was
what,
it.
what do you think of Bridges? 1 minute.
Oh, he stinks. I mean, I
He
like him
defended
and he
well.
plays great defense, but he is like I don't want to call him the P word like publicly, but I definitely have done it privately. He's soft. And he is like he can hit some big shots and get hot in the fourth quarter, make a great defensive play. Made a few at the end. One of the few people that I have ever seen that can make multiple defensive plays that are clean to win games. Usually, when you make a steal at the end of a game, they call a foul and it's clean and he wins it. And shout out to him, props to him. He's done a lot of great things these playoffs, but he is soft. Has open lanes. He's just afraid of contact. Everything's a spin around fadeaway. He pulls up, never at the line, and that's fine. But when you have, and if that's not your game, that's fine. But when you have an open lane in the clutch and there's just one guy in between you, go up strong. Like that's all. You know what I mean? All the other stuff, and it's not your game, whatever. But when the opportunity presents itself and there's nobody in front of you, take it to the hoop, man. You know, like I don't know. It's easy
Let me
for me
say,
to say, but still, it's frustrating.
let's say the Knicks win the championship, obviously, and Mikel just keeps on this trajectory of play. Like, obviously, it was a good
Right.
trade because they got what they wanted, so it doesn't
Right.
really
He
matter.
helped. No, he
But
definitely helped.
but
You
can
know.
you
So.
see from a net perspective how it was a good trade, regardless, even if the Knicks win
Sure.
the title
Yeah, I mean, it's a good. You got him off your books. You know for sure. You know who knows
for
what
five
those
first
picks will
round
be.
picks?
And well, you're right. You got him off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
So even if
it's
they win a title, I'm just like if the Knicks were to
like you said. It worked
deal
for both sides. It worked for both
if the
sides.
Knicks
Yeah,
were to deal Mikel now, his value would not be five first round picks.
yeah. No, no.
It'd be
Five second round
one.
picks, maybe. You know,
Yeah, it would change. It changed. So I just again
he would have to be a
just want to make
throw in
sure
a
that's
deal
noted.
that you're getting something. Like let's say you're trading. Like you're not doing this. Like let's say you're trading Towns and McHale for somebody.
For
Like it'd have to be
Giannis.
something like that. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. That's the only way that it's going to be something. Because he's still a player. And somebody might be
Sure.
like, still like, oh, you never know. It was like the fifth option on the team. Let's see, kind of a thing. So fourth
Yeah.
option. So I don't know, but Listen, it is what it is. Knicks are
Uh,
in the Eastern Conference Finals in Game
exactly.
Six.
No, I
Fuck,
totally
fuck
totally
those
agree.
picks.
Totally.
You
No,
know what I mean? That's
you're in
all.
it.
Yeah,
You're in while you
yeah,
did it. I mean, this is
yeah,
you're
yeah.
living the moment. Seriously.
Right. And in 5 years, we'll see if I still have that same opinion. But right now, I don't give a fuck.
5 years, 5 years from now, there will be nobody on the Nets roster left, and I don't think anybody on the
Coach.
Knicks. I mean, maybe Brunson, but that's it. Like, I don't think
Right. Well,
anybody
this
else from the Knicks would be left.
also this idea real quick and then we'll end this idea that this is the last chance the Knicks have to win a championship. Like, all these guys are in their prime and locked up and they'll be here the next 3 years. Yeah, other teams can get better, but so can they. So, and this is the other thing I was saying about Leon Rose, how you never know what he's thinking. We've always thought he's going to do something and then he does something opposite, and it's been working ever since year two. Year two sucked with the Fournier and the Kemba and the Noel contract and all that stuff. But ever since that, he's hit grand slam after grand slam after grand slam after grand slam. So I am trusting him, and I'm not going to even predict what he has up his sleeve because I have no idea. But this idea that the Knicks have to win now or it's over, or if they don't win a championship now that they got the Eastern Conference Finals, that it's a failure, is a bunch of bullshit.
No,
Because this season is a quote unquote success because you've gotten as far as you wanted to and you set out to go. And yes, it'd be frustrating to lose to the Pacers when you're the favorite, but you can't now move the goalpost and be like, this is not a successful
no.
season. We have to fire the coach. We have to do this. We have to do that. And I wish I thought of this earlier in the show, but honestly, it's frustrating to hear people talk like that because it's just nonsense. Because
I
in
agree.
3 months, you're going to be like,
I
wow,
agree.
this was a great season.
I agree. It
So
wouldn't be a failure; it'd be a lost opportunity.
thank you. That's well said. Well said. Yeah.
Like, you don't know how many of these opportunities you're going to get. I mean, who knows?
Right.
Each season with injuries and the way the league moves so fast,
Right.
anything can change super fast. Like,
Yeah.
look at these teams just like that. It's like it's over. So I wouldn't say, and I hope we can get to this conversation, but it would not be a failure, but it would certainly be a lost opportunity.
For sure. But also, the Thunder are so great. So it's not like it's going to be easy. And it's not like the Thunder lost to the Timberwolves and you're going to play the Timberwolves.
They
in the
look good.
finals.
I
Like,
mean, OKC looks good. I mean,
yeah, I mean, they're a machine and, they're young, so they haven't done it yet, but neither are the Knicks, but they're older. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. It's not like that big of a lost opportunity. Like, yes, it's a lost opportunity to get to the finals, but it's not a lost opportunity at a championship because it's not guaranteed. And I mean, nothing is, but it's not like you'll be the favorites and you'll be probably 10-point underdogs in the finals versus the Thunder in every game. So it is what it is.
especially
Whatever.
well,
Let's go
in
Knicks.
Oklahoma
Yeah.
and New York are going to be different. But all right, bad
Right,
weather
right. But you know what I
fan.
mean? The Thunder will be favored in that series dramatically. So whatever. Let's go Knicks. Game
Just had,
6.
I just got a funny text. All right, bye.
Excuse me.